Once upon a time, in the city of New York, there was a young man named Peter Parker. But what most people don't know is that Peter Parker wasn't the only one to wear the mask of Spider-Man. There was another Spider-Man, a hero whose story has been lost to time. His name was Miguel O'Hara, and he was from the year 2099. Miguel was a brilliant scientist who worked for the megacorporation Alchemax. One day, while experimenting with a new gene splicing technology, Miguel accidentally fused his DNA with that of a spider, giving him spider-like abilities. At first, Miguel struggled to control his newfound powers, but with the help of his grandfather, who was a retired hero from the 20th century, Miguel learned how to become the Spider-Man of his time. Unlike Peter Parker, who fought crime in the shadows, Miguel became a symbol of hope for the people of the future. He battled against corrupt corporations, oppressive governments, and even other superpowered beings. Miguel's fights were more than just physical battles, they were fights for the soul of humanity. But Miguel's greatest challenge came when he discovered that Alchemax, the company he worked for, was planning to use his spider DNA to create an army of superpowered soldiers. Miguel knew he had to stop them, but he couldn't do it alone. That's when he discovered a time portal that led him back to the present day, where he met Peter Parker, the original Spider-Man. Together, the two Spider-Men formed an unlikely partnership to stop Alchemax and prevent the dystopian future that Miguel came from. The battle was intense, with Miguel and Peter facing off against Alchemax's army of genetically enhanced soldiers. But in the end, the two Spider-Men emerged victorious, and Miguel returned to his own time, confident that he had made a difference. Although his story has been forgotten by most, Miguel O'Hara will always be remembered as a hero, a symbol of hope for a better tomorrow, and a Spider-Man that nobody knew. However, Miguel's victory against Alchemax was not without consequences. The battle had caused a massive explosion, and in the chaos, Miguel was transported back to the present day once again, this time with no way to return to his own time. With no other options, Miguel decided to stay in the present day and work alongside Peter Parker to protect New York City as Spider-Man. But as time went on, Miguel noticed that the city was changing. There was an influx of crime and corruption, and it seemed like the city was on the brink of collapse. Miguel soon discovered that the cause of this was none other than Alchemax, who had returned to the present day and was once again trying to take over the city. Determined to stop Alchemax once and for all, Miguel and Peter teamed up once again, but this time, they were joined by a new ally, Gwen Stacy. Unlike the Gwen Stacy that Peter knew, this Gwen was from an alternate universe where she had also gained spider-like abilities and became the Spider-Woman of her world. Together, the three heroes fought against Alchemax's army of super soldiers, but just when it seemed like they had won, Alchemax revealed their ultimate weapon, a new and improved Venom symbiote.
Connected to each other somehow.
The battle that followed was intense, with Miguel, Peter, and Gwen fighting for their lives against the powerful symbiote. In the end, it was Miguel who emerged victorious, using his advanced scientific knowledge to create an antidote that neutralized the symbiote's power. With Alchemax defeated, Miguel, Peter, and Gwen had saved the city and earned the respect and admiration of its people. They had become the defenders of New York, a new kind of superhero team, each with their own unique skills and abilities. But their work was far from over.
I told them there is no pattern.
There were still threats out there, both old and new, and they knew that they couldn't rest until they had secured the safety of the city and its people. And so, the three heroes continued to fight together, facing danger head-on and always putting the needs of the city
reality
first.
magic.
They became the stuff of legends, inspiring a new generation of heroes to step forward and protect their communities in the same way. Years went by, and the three heroes continued to fight side by side. They faced new challenges and foes, but they never wavered in their determination to keep New York safe. In the end, when their time as heroes had come to an end, Miguel, Peter, and Gwen passed on their legacy to a new generation of heroes, knowing that the city would always need its defenders, no matter what. And so, the legend of Miguel O'Hara, the Spider-Man nobody knew, lived on, inspiring countless others to take up the mantle of heroism and fight for what was right. His legacy would be remembered for generations to come, as a symbol of hope and courage in a world that often seemed dark and dangerous. And as for Miguel himself, he knew that he had found a new family in Peter and Gwen, a family that would always be there for him, no matter what the future held. For he knew that with his spider-like powers and the strength and determination of his new family by his side, he could face any challenge and overcome any obstacle, no matter how impossible it seemed. Together, they fought against the forces of evil, facing impossible odds and seemingly insurmountable challenges at every turn. But they never gave up, always pushing forward in their quest to save the world from destruction. As they journeyed through time and space, Miguel and Gwen grew even closer, their bond forged through the fires of battle and the trials of hardship. They found solace in each other's company, and their love for each other only grew stronger with each passing moment. But as they drew closer to their goal, they realized that their journey was not without consequences. They had altered the course of history, changing the very fabric of time and space in ways that they could never have imagined. As they returned to their own timeline, Miguel and Gwen knew that they had made a difference, but at a cost. They had seen the best and worst of humanity, and they knew that the fight against evil would never truly be over. But they also knew that they had each other, and that together, they could face anything that the world threw their way. For they were Spider-Man and Spider-Woman, defenders of the innocent and protectors of the weak, and they would never stop fighting for what was right, no matter what the future held. As Miguel and Gwen returned to their own timeline, they were greeted by a new hero who had joined their cause. This hero's name was Echo, and her special power was sound. She could manipulate sound waves to create powerful attacks, or to control the minds of her enemies. At first, Miguel and Gwen were skeptical of Echo, unsure of whether or not they could trust her. But as they fought side by side, they quickly realized that she was a valuable ally, and that her powers could be instrumental in the fight against evil. Together, the three heroes continued to fight against the forces of Alchemax, pushing back against their insidious plans and doing everything in their power to protect the innocent. But Alchemax was not content to let them succeed. They launched a massive assault on the city, unleashing their most powerful weapons and armies in a final attempt to take control. Miguel, Gwen, and Echo fought with everything they had, their powers combining in a symphony of sound and fury that shook the very foundations of the city. It was a battle unlike any other, a struggle for the fate of the world itself. In the end, it was the combined power of the three heroes that saved the day. They used their powers to create a sonic blast that destroyed Alchemax's most powerful weapon, sending shockwaves throughout the city. As the dust settled, Miguel, Gwen, and Echo emerged victorious, their bodies battered and bruised, but their spirits unbroken. They knew that there would always be more challenges ahead, more battles to fight and enemies to defeat. But they also knew that they were not alone, that they had each other to rely on, and that together, they could face anything that the world threw their way. For they were the defenders of New York, the protectors of the innocent, and the guardians of the future. Thanks for watching.